Howdy, everybody. My name is Mistaken Raven, and welcome back to Deca Debrief. We're here with an extremely special guest, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I am BikuriBox12, otherwise known as Talwar in game.
Cool. If you stumbled upon us somehow without knowing what Realm is, Realm of the Mad God is a permadeath, bullet hell, MMORPG, RNG-based game. This week we've been announced some pretty cool things, mostly to do with a new dungeon. This dungeon is an upgraded version of the Forbidden Jungle, known as the Secluded Thicket. It's a new epic dungeon to be one of the portals opened in the Court of Oryx. And now for that news. So our first question here for you is, how long have you played the game?
Playing ever since late summer of 2011. I was the first Steam game that I ever played and installed. I had to install Steam for that game because my uncle introduced it to me. But I didn't make my Talwar account until like early 2012. But I had been playing the game on and off for like 6 months before I decided to do that. So it's been just about 7 years now in total, which is crazy.
You said you take breaks. What are the reasons for those breaks?
Plenty. Mainly before it was because of school. There's only so much you can do before that takes over a little bit. You just kind of have to buckle down a little bit. But now if I ever take breaks from playing, it's usually just because I either have a lot of footage to edit through and I can't play, or I just am kind of burnt out and I want to try something else. But right now I've actually been on a roll a little bit, so I haven't needed to really take a big break from the game for a couple of months. So
Right, nice. So you've been pretty present throughout much of Realm history. How do you feel about Deca and the work they've been doing?
loving their work. I think that they're doing a pretty outstanding job. In the beginning, I know it was a little iffy because they were just doing a lot of mystery boxes and chest events and not really any major updates. But I feel like once they made their Puppet Master Encore, Toxic Sewers, that big update, from
Right.
there on, it's just been uphill. Like new class coming, porting to Unity confirmed, the Lost Halls, tons of new items, STs rebalancing. Like they've done so much work. Like I think Kabam may have done more things in total, but considering they had the game for like multiple years and Deca's only had it for not even two, or maybe just about two, that's pretty insane. They've done a lot. So good job to them.
On that topic, what was your favorite update from any of those producers? Any of the producers that have owned the game, that is.
Whenever Wild Shadow was in control, I don't really think I saw any big updates from them, so I can't really say for sure. With Kabam, I would say the inclusion of the Shatters, I think, because it's probably my favorite dungeon, so them creating that. I didn't really get to appreciate it back then because I wasn't playing too much at that time because of school, but now I see that it's a really good dungeon. For Deca, I would, aside from this new Epic Forbidden Jungle coming out, that'll probably be my favorite whenever that's the case. But I think that them adding the Lost Halls was a really good addition. Even if I don't run it a whole lot, I think it's created sort of this Discord culture of hopping in these big servers with people and having tons of people to lead like a raid. And I love the whites and I love the bosses. It's great end game material.
Right.
So I would say that.
How do you come to meet Yin Yarn and Needawig?
Wig first in like it was probably like my senior year or something. I was 2016. I was not in Chest at the time, but I saw a couple of videos by Chest. I remember Spencer Techmech was in there, and I saw Needawig was a guest at frequent points. Whenever I eventually joined Chest, because it was sort of becoming this YouTuber guild, I got to talking to Wig a little bit. He was streaming by himself, and I just kind of liked his personality. He seemed a little more approachable and wholesome than maybe some of the other guys. I just connected with him, resonated a little bit more, and then we got to talking and snowball of friendship. And then Yin Yarn was, I shouted him out. So he used Super Nintendo music in his video. So I'm like, oh, we're already going to get along. I know this from the moment I heard it. And I loved his content. And once I shouted him out, he was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And then he joined Chest. This was like probably a year after I joined. Maybe not that much, but somewhere around then. And then I talked to him. We chatted a couple of times. Same thing, snowball. And it just worked out really well. So, two of my best friends.
All right, well, when did you join Chest exactly?
Probably like 2 years ago now. I was only in for a few months before the guild kind of slowly died off. It was very brief. I'd have to look back on like whenever I posted some videos. It was like right after my Jug Warrior died, and then probably no more than half a year after that.
I mean, yeah, your Jug Warrior was obviously the thing that killed it, right?
Yes.
Any interesting ideas you have lately for the future of Realm?
Well, they're kind of doing a lot of the stuff that I've wanted, like a new class and the Epic Forbidden Jungle. But I would say that Oryx 3, I think, is like the last big thing I would want to see from Realm because I mean, he's the face of the game. Like, he's the big bad guy, so he kind of needs to be the end. And I think in the lore of Realm, canonically, the Void can't beat Oryx. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. Right now, that would need to change because the Void is way harder than Oryx. And I think that it's prime time for that. I don't know how long it'll take, but I would love to see that. Just one ultimate team fight to finish him off, and then he'll drop these amazing items.
Right, yeah, but with that, you'd have to go through O1, O2, and then fight O3. How do you think it would be a separate dungeon drop, or do you think it would go through all the stages?
I mean, I think it would make sense to drop from O2 as like a locked portal in a way,
Like another
or not
wine
locked. It
cellar,
doesn't have
yeah.
to be locked. Yeah, and it would just be I propose like the idea of climbing up the castle. You're all the way in the bottom of the cellar, and then you climb your way back up to the top of the castle and fight him at the
Oh,
tower.
yeah.
I think very Legend of Zelda esque, and I think that maybe once it gets ported, who knows? We'll have more lighting effects and music. We could have some. We could have a really cool final battle on our hands.
Yeah, so you mentioned it having to be harder than Marble Colossus. So, how have you fleshed out any ideas, or is it all just like theories, or not necessarily theories, but just fan stuff that you've done?
At this point, it's all speculation. I've thought about it, but it's kind of beyond my grasp right now. Like the Void alone, I probably could have never conceived something like that until I saw it with my own eyes. That would definitely take some time. I think it's definitely possible, though. I mean, I brought up the idea that there's only so far we can push Realm before it just gets ridiculously hard, and it's like, okay, how far have we come? Like we've gone too far, but I think that maybe pushing it one more step further in like the next year or two wouldn't be that much to ask. Right now, it's a little hard to see just because we're this far, and this seems like the end. But I think that things can always be pushed a little bit more beyond their limits.
Well, on the topic of the future, have you heard anything about the Fame rework? If so, what's your opinion on that?
Heard anything yet aside from the potential idea to have a stronger focus on dungeon farming for Fame, whereas Godlands farming wouldn't be the focus anymore, and so Fame trains would kind of die off a little bit, and it would be more incentivized to do a bunch of dungeons as a team.
Fame trains have already kind of died out. You can't really find any Fame train servers that do Fame trains anymore. Like Fame Rush. Fame Rush right now is doing reefs and ice caves and not training in Godlands anymore because of just how bad it's become, especially with pausing. Like pausing was removed from in Realms. You can't pause in Realms anymore, so that just kind of killed off Fame train servers. I also heard something about them maybe making it to do with rebalancing the Fame system so that you can actually start buying stuff with Fame again instead of it being purely pay to win, as Realm has been for a
That would be
while.
great. I would love that. I really want something other than feeding my pet, which should be free in a regular world. I don't have to pay my dog if I want to feed him. It's like, no, you pay for the food and then give it to him. But yeah, I would love it if you could actually purchase some sort of items, not like equipment, but something extra. Even if they wanted to do keys, I know that that's like a big money maker for them, so they probably won't. But something, we need just anything that we can buy with Fame, some type of secondary AMI.
Right, right. So they've done something recently where they've changed some stuff with levels. You can only get 10% of the XP required for your level right now. That's a recent update on the topic of recent updates. We have the yellowing, which is all white stars turning to yellow stars. What's your opinion on that?
I imagine they did that just because there's going to be more stars now, and so that everybody will not be white star. But it seems weird why they did it before the class was released.
Well, yeah, they did it like
I
2
guess
months before the class was released, which is kind of like strange.
Yeah, they, yeah, it's I don't know what the thought process behind that was. I guess they wanted to get us ready for it, but
Get
would have been
hyped
equally
and
shocking
not
just
mad
under
at
a less
us.
time. Yeah, So that seems a little weird. I get why they're going to, like, if they were going to wait until the class was out, obviously that makes sense. But yeah, this is a little strange, but maybe they have a reason. I don't know why they wouldn't tell us though.
How about the pet wardrobe update?
Super cool. Yeah, we've had our UI complaints with it, like the text being too small and not seeing you level up. Like you can see whenever you reach a new level, but your XP meter doesn't like go up anymore. Sort of underwhelming whenever you compare it to the original. But I like the whole idea of the wardrobe itself. Like once you unlock a skin, you own it. That's how I think it always should have been. Like class skins, you don't use it once and then you die on your class and then it's gone. Like you can keep on using them. So I think that's really an update that should have been there since it came out.
So a very interesting and fitting development came out Wednesday morning about a dungeon called the Secluded Thicket. What's your opinion on that, seeing as one of your favorite dungeons is finally getting a harder counterpart?
From what I've seen, because I haven't been able to play through most of it, I got to like the second boss, but it was really laggy for me. I'm loving it. It's great. I think that I was a little disappointed that we weren't getting a full dungeon based on it. So that was, but the bosses themselves, I think, are usually some of the strongest points in Realm. The fact that they're focusing on that, I can sort of understand that. And I would rather have really good boss fights than like a decent dungeon, if that makes any sense. So I like the stronger focus because these bosses have some of the most elaborate bullet hell patterns. I know that's like straight from my video, but that's like how I want to describe it. It's really, I don't think I have a favorite. Like they're just really, I mean, yeah, they're not the most difficult things in the game, but they're difficult enough. They make you think, you got to dodge. They have different patterns. They're pretty to look at. I imagine they'll drop something good. I hope so. And it's got really good aesthetics and pacing. I like the lightning god motif, how you can attack him with his own attack at the very end. It's just really creative stuff. I appreciate that.
Right, and that's come from the whole one room dungeon idea, like with the Reef and Puppet Master's Encore. What's your opinion on the one room dungeon thing?
The concept, they're totally fine and acceptable. I don't think they should have released the Nidarian Reef and then teased this like 2 months or 2 weeks after, because they're both going to be Court of Oryx dungeons, I'm pretty sure. And I thought that 3 was kind of the magic number. You had Shaitan's Encore and the Reef all next to each other, and it looks correct having all 3 of them next to each other. But now there's going to be a 4th. It just seems a little like now we have too many options going to Janus, and it's kind of more in favor of not going to Oryx, which I would prefer is more desirable because he's Oryx. But
Right, and this brings up another thing. So this will make it more desirable to go to Janus instead of going to Oryx. What if they add an O3, but they also have, this dungeon? Won't O3 kind of overshadow that?
it would, especially whenever it comes out, because usually whenever a dungeon's released, everybody's running it the first couple of days. Everybody gets keys. Not even necessarily people are going to it, but they will just open keys in a bazaar and everybody will go in. And Oryx 3, I don't think you'd be able to do that, so it would overshadow Janus for a little bit. I don't know if it would forever, but you would probably need a certain amount of people, and if not everybody's going, then you would go to Janus. But yeah, that's an interesting dilemma that I think is a little hard to predict at this stage. It's more like you have to cross that bridge when we get there.
Right.
But I definitely understand that because it's just a battle of what do we want to do. It's like, you want to go to Colossus or Cultist. Which one do you want to do?
Cultist, because Cultist is obviously better. Completely off the rails here, but are you gay?
Off the rails? We're going off the course, man. No,
Greatest
I'm
question
not.
of all time.
Yes, totally original. Hasn't been said. No, I am not.
No! So we're going to go on to a section about flexing. So how many event whites do you have?
Currently, I have my 2 jugs and my Oreo. I only have 1 Oreo right now. But I think I've had like maybe 3 or 4 in total. But yeah, as for event whites, unless I think if you count Quat, I do have that one from UT Trading.
Why would you not count Quad?
Well, it's not an event, but because it's not an event.
It's rare enough,
event.
though. You might as well call it
Yes. Yes, it is definitely rare enough.
So is that in total, or is that just what
so
you have
far.
right now?
That's just right now. I've had 2 Ogmers, 4 jugs, and 3 Oreos, and I believe, yeah, and then the 1 quad, and that's it.
You're way too lucky. I don't like it.
Well, I bought some of those. It was a classic UT weekend. I miss it. Had a Cronus. I did buy a Cronus. That's right.
SMH my head, pay to win Talwar.
Pay to win. I traded 8 life for those
A whole 8 life.
that I earned with money.
Realm trades. Anyways, no, wait, it's not realm
Oryx.in.
trades. It's what's the thing called? What's the
Oryx.in immediately delivered.
realm stock? There you go.
Realm stock. Oh yeah.
Good enough.
Oh man.
On that topic,
Harmless enough.
what's your opinion on real world trading? Should it be bannable?
Well, isn't it against the terms of service? Quote unquote illegal in Realm?
It is.
Then yeah, you shouldn't do it.
Nice.
It's not good.
Good talk. All right. So what's your
Yeah.
favorite dungeon?
Right now,
Yeah.
I would say the Shatters. I really like the Shatters. But right behind would be Tomb of the Ancients, because while I love Shats, you don't get anything. Like, I could get a crown. You won't. So I like doing Tombs because I can at least know I'm going to get 1 life. If I don't get 1 life, I did something wrong. Or it was a public, which it never is. So I don't, actually I haven't ran Tombs with a guild in a while, but whenever I get back, maybe. But yeah, Shatters, just conceptually, and then Tomb right behind it, because it's also really cool, but it gives better loot.
So how about your favorite white bag?
Shield of Ogmer. It's really debatable what's a broken item anymore, because, like, just playing the warrior could be considered broken in some situations. DPS. And then playing the knight, like, I stun everything except endgame stuff. But it looks really nice. Just, it has the aesthetic of a legendary item, and it's the only ability in the game that armor breaks, as far as I'm concerned. And that's a really unique effect that chains well with other abilities. The knight doesn't exactly have outstanding DPS on his own, because 50 attack and dex, but with the shield, if you can armor break and then swap to your Colossus and then stun, it's a brilliant combo. And with the D-Blade combo, it's even better, especially on like Stone Guardians and stuff. That was a classic.
Right. So how does it feel being the top Realm YouTuber? And do you have any plans for celebration once you reach the all-time top of Realm?
I'm thinking about a celebration. I don't really know what yet. I know that, I already killed Spencer, so I might as well kill Silver Dollar whenever that happens.
Slaughter.
So if he doesn't, I'll have to find some sweet voice clips to pick of him for that battle. I don't know what I'll do, though. In any case, yeah, no, it's super cool to be at the close to the top now, because, I mean, it's just an honor in its most basic form, because whenever I started, I would think about it, like, what if I made it here? But, you don't really think that it's going to happen because you don't want to set your expectations too high, and it's so far out of reach. And then you slowly make it there, and you're like, wow, I'm actually on my way. That's crazy. And then you make it there, and you're even more excited. So it's really cool. I like it. I like this little tight community we have.
So we have some questions from fans here in this new section. What is your favorite Lost Halls enemy group?
I would say the slimes, mainly because they weren't... I mean, there were slimes in the original version, but there wasn't the big grotto slime in the middle that has that clockwise attack that you have to circle around. And it was honestly just refreshing to see something that was colored and not gray and
Depressing.
all that monotone color. Yeah, gray and depressing and lost. So it was refreshing, to say the least. I liked it. Yes, Lost Halls, that is the name of the dungeon.
Really? So what's your favorite Lost Halls boss out of Cultist, MBC, Void, or Titan Room?
I think all 3 of them are pretty close for me. I like the Cultist for being like a giant mobile quick time event you have to dodge. And the colors are nice. I always like that kind of stuff. Colossus is really cool because you're constantly moving back and forth, and there's this wave of nonsense just every which way. And it really... you just have to watch your step. But I think Void takes the cake as being like the most daunting and creative, because it doesn't seem like a mess, but there are a couple of phases where it gets so crazy, and whenever you survive it, you feel like a ninja because you've just dodged everything, and you're like, I can't believe I did that. I must be good at this game now. You're wrong, comments. Yeah, so I think the Void is my favorite.
Nice. So on the topic of Lost Halls, what white bag from Lost Halls do you want the most?
There's definitely a lot on my list, but the Skull of Corrupted Souls from the Necro set is probably my favorite, just on design alone. It curses enemies, which is really cool. I think that on its own, it's not the greatest, but in combination with the whole Necro set, it does really have a purpose because it's more attack-oriented, with the staff being super high damage and the Ritual Robe giving you more wisdom, so that way Wismod kicks in. But yeah, the Skull is really nice.
Out of all of your videos, which one are you most surprised got popular?
I did not expect the Candyland guide to get over 100,000 views. I would imagine like Tomb, Shatters, or even some of the earlier dungeons for like new players who don't know how to do anything yet. But Candyland seems so, I guess because it's like this vanity dungeon in a way, because it never ends and you don't see them all the time. But I was just really shocked by that. So I guess that one really, I look back and I'm like, oh, whoa, it's still going. That's incredible.
So what games are you playing/planning to play apart from Realm?
You purchased some things from the Steam Summer Sale. Don't know if I'll play all of them. Really, if I were to make videos on games that weren't Realm and they got decently popular, I would try to play current stuff. If not, I would just kind of play all the classic jams that I have from time to time. All those old school platformers from 80s and 90s, Mario, Mega Man, Sonic, Metroid, all that stuff. Currently, I played like PUBG on the channel a little bit. I might redo my Hyper Light Drifter Let's Play. Apparently, visual novels are a hit here, so I might, if I don't get demonetized, bombs away. But yeah, really, I'm just kind of playing it by ear. I play what I want for now, and then if it does well, I'll start playing other bigger games like the Spider-Man PS4 games coming out soon. I really want to play that. So
Heck yeah. Well, an update to our schedule. We upload our episodes every Thursday night or Friday morning, with an exception of this one because we're bad. Our sponsors this week are, once again, the Peach servers, and a new one, the Century Cleanup Crew server. They provide us with weekly advertisements for our show, allowing us to reach an even wider audience. Any server/anyone that believes they can sponsor or help our show in any way are encouraged to email us at decadebrief@gmail.com. It's DECADEBRIEF@gmail.com. Thank you very much. This show is written, produced, and edited by Mr. Raven, CW Girl, and Erica Starr. Our special guest here today was Talwar, also known as Bikuribox12. Thanks for coming on.
it was my pleasure. I had a good time. Thanks for having me.
That was Deca Debrief, and thanks for listening. Make sure to tune in next week for our next episode.
See ya.
See ya.